before I get into this review, I want to give a shout out to two different Twitter accounts, one being Directory and one being their Scream Curse of Carnage account, and I will have links to both of their Twitters down in the descriptions because both of these wonderful people kind of came together and got me a digital code for Curse of Carnage issue number 3 because I didn't think I was going to be able to afford to actually buy the issue. If my camera's shaking, that is because I'm sitting on my bed. I use my laptop camera, and my Chihuahua cannot get comfortable, and he keeps hitting my laptop. So if the camera's shaky, that's why. Anyway, and they got me a digital code so that I could read the issue. I did end up being able to, on Wednesday, so on the release day, I went over to my mom's, cleaned a bunch of stuff for her, so I will have a physical copy. It's probably just not going to be here till like 2 weeks, and I didn't even know if I was going to be able to get it or not. So, much love to them. They both run awesome accounts, and just thank you so much for doing this for me. It really means a lot. Alright, so let's get into what you all came here for, which is let's talk about Curse of Carnage issue number 3. So, this video obviously is going to have spoilers. So if you haven't read the issue, or if you don't care about, if you don't want it to be spoiled, you might want to save it and you'll watch later. Whatever, you know the drill. I've said this on all these videos. So if you don't like spoilers, you don't want to watch this. If you've read the issue or you don't care about spoilers, then proceed. So I said in my review for issue number 2 that it felt like a transition issue where it felt like things were being set into motion. And I kind of theorized that issue 3 was definitely going to be a bit more action-y, and it absolutely was. So I've actually got it pulled up on my phone. So the issue starts off, we get a little bit of backstory, a little bit of a flashback, which is kind of funny to say flashback considering the ending of this issue. But anyway, we get a little bit of a flashback that talks about Thor's fight with the Grendel symbiote, and it kind of gives us a little bit of history on that. So if you've read Beowulf, it's basically that, but with Thor. And it's pretty cool. It's nice to see exactly, what happened and why Big Mother kind of is the way that she is. So after you get past that, it opens back up to the feast shelter where everybody inside is pretty much dead, except for Andy. And once again, we have this issue of Andy can't go anywhere, nowhere safe, and she's realized this now. So instead of trying to run, her and Scream decide to just take the fight to Big Mother, and they dive into the water. And we get this really cool shot. I think you might be able to see it. Oh, that translates really well on screen today. With Scream, where she's made it to where Andy can breathe underwater. She's got some aquatic elements. You've got the webbed clawed hands, this like serpent eel-like tail, and her face, at least to me, it reminded me of an anglerfish, kind of, with the way the jaws extended and the teeth go over the top. It made me think of an anglerfish. So they go down, and Big Mother tries again to pretend to be Andy's mom, and it doesn't work this time. And Scream flat out says that, we're not falling for your tricks again, this isn't going to work. And we finally get to see Big Mother in her true form, and she definitely lives up to being called big. I didn't realize how large her scale was to Scream. I'm not exactly sure how tall Andy is. I would assume Andy's probably like 5'8", because most comic book characters are pretty tall. You don't often see ones that are shorter. And there's a big fight between these fish symbiotes, is what I've been calling them, that have possessed people that are at the bottom of the ocean. I pretty sure it's an ocean. I think I had this question earlier, whether trying to figure out whether it was an ocean, and I'm almost positive they're in the ocean. And Scream gets completely overwhelmed the whole time. Big Mother saying how when Noel comes back, maybe he'll let her keep this one, and how Scream's her daughter, and Scream is just, no, I'm not your daughter, no. But really, probably the most interesting part of this issue is the entire time through this run, not even just through this run, but with funeral, you can actually take Funeral Pyre too. Andy has had this fear of symbiotes and almost repulsion, where she doesn't want anything to do with them. Issue number 1 opened up with Andy telling Scream to get out of her head, to go away, how she didn't want her, she didn't want to be safe, she didn't want Scream to save her when she tried to throw herself off the bridge. So it's really cool to see with this issue that they're talking more, they're communicating more. They actually have a conversation about fairy tales. But what really, to me, and to everyone that I've kind of talked to about, that really cements the fact that Andy and Scream's relationship has changed, is this ending part where Big Mother gets the upper hand in the fight, and she hits Scream with, I don't know if this is Sonic, if it's a Sonic blast, but it just kind of, it's a laser beam. It's some sort of laser beam. I don't really want to call it a Sonic blast because I just watched the Sonic trailer, so now I'm just got this mental image of Big Mother like shooting Sonic the Hedgehogs out of her mouth. So I'm not gonna call it that. And instead of Andy telling Scream to leave, she's begging her not to. And pleading with, because whatever this blast is, it's ripping the two of them apart. And Andy's begging Scream, don't go, don't leave, I'm nothing. So we see the relationship transitioned from one of disgust and hate to one of almost, I don't want to really use the word codependency yet, just because this is kind of the first time we've seen that, so I can't really accurately gauge if it's going to be a codependent relationship, but pretty much everybody who's ever hosted a symbiote, that's how it goes. It's a codependent relationship. The symbiote obviously needs a host. The host themselves gets used to the symbiote, and they in turn need the symbiote as well. So it's kind of nice to see Andy being, I mean, I wish it wasn't in this context, but it's nice to see Andy be more accepting of Scream and realizing that at this point, Scream's all she's got. There's nothing else for her. Which is neat. And I mentioned before that the only consistent thing in Andy's life ever since her dad was killed is symbiotes. And I think that's kind of starting to click in her head a little bit. And I'm wondering how that's going to change her and Scream, how that's going to change their bond, how that's going to change their relationship, and how they work together. So I'm really happy. I really liked that part with Andy kind of realizing that. I do wish it, I don't want to say that I wish it was under different circumstances necessarily, because it works in this context. It works perfectly in this context, and usually when somebody realizes that they need somebody, it is in a moment like this. But I do hate to see characters I really like suffer, but that's a personal thing for me. And this worked. It worked well. It worked perfect. That's not a criticism against the writing at all, not even a little bit, and I don't want that to come across that way. But yeah, it works good. Had there been like some sort of heartfelt moment between Andy and Scream, I wouldn't have worked right, because nothing in Andy's life has gone that way so far. Speaking of heartfelt moment, after Scream gets ripped off of Andy, Andy wakes up in her room. And I'm pretty sure she knows that it's a hallucination and she doesn't feel connected to Scream. She can't hear her, she can't feel her, nothing. And she walks out of her room and Flash is there. And we got a little bit of Flash at the very beginning of Kate's Venom run, but this is the first time that we've seen him, and I use the word seen lightly, that we've seen him in a while. And I'm wondering with Big Mother, is this Big Mother getting into Andy's head and making her see this, or is this just her mind doing this has kind of like a comfort thing? And then it ends with this page where we have Andy at the top, who's drowning and stuck in this dream, delusion, or hallucination, and Big Mother, who's basically pulling Scream apart like Taffy. So this was a really, really good issue. And I mean, I really can't say anything bad about it. I can't. I mean, I know I said, the part with Andy coming to terms with the fact that she does indeed need Scream. I don't like to see people suffer or anything like that, but again, that's not a knock against the book. That's not a knock against the issue at all, and I just want to make that very, very, very clear. It had to be that way for Andy, because I don't think I don't think that would have clicked in her head that her and Scream need each other. It had to have been in a moment like that. It wouldn't have worked if it would have been like this. Like I said, it wouldn't have worked if it had been this heartfelt conversation between the two of them. Wouldn't have been the same, and on the reader, it wouldn't have had the same impact. So, I don't even know, really, with the flashback part, and I'm really, really proud of that pun. So, I think issue 4, because I think issue 4 kind of wraps up the Big Mother storyline. It might not be wrapped up until issue 5. I might be wrong, but our first arc has only got like 1 or 2 issues left. So, I'm very interested to see what's going to happen to everything and how Andy's going to react to seeing Flash again, even if it isn't real, because I don't think Flash being gone has ever really been explored from her perspective. I don't think we've really seen her thoughts on it a lot. I mean, she mentioned him a little bit in the Absolute Carnage tie-in, and I think she mentioned him in Funeral Pyre, but beyond that, we haven't really gotten to see the emotional impact of her losing Flash. So I think that'll be really good, and Clay has done an amazing job exploring these different psychological elements and doing a really good job of just kind of showing what's in these characters' heads. So I'm very excited for issue number 4. I don't actually know when issue 4 comes out. I haven't looked up the date yet, so I can't really tell you the release date, and it'll take me too long to Google it, but I'll definitely make sure to put the release date for issue 4 in the description. So those are my thoughts on Scream Curse of Carnage issue number 3. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that was a good moment for Andy to kind of realize that she needed Scream, or do you think it should have been done in a different context? But really, I think the most important question on this is the Flash memory coming back and what's going to be the final impact on that. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I should have another video going up live either today, which is the 31st, or probably Monday. So, I'm definitely going to do some more symbiote stuff. I have a few things planned for the next month or so. And just, thank you for watching. If you're not already, give me a follow on Twitter. My fan account is Let's Talk Scream. My personal Twitter is symbioticgoth, and if you're looking for something a little bit more different than that, I also have a Doctor Who fan page on Facebook. It's got a pretty long title, so I'll leave that in the description below. Thank you for watching. Drop a like, comment, subscribe, the usual YouTuber rhetoric thing, and I will see you guys later.